On this episode, we go to Boston for National Walk to Lunch Day. Then we head north to Hallowell, Maine, where a bike path and railroad track coexist. In Burlington, Vermont, the city puts a priority on pedestrians and bicyclists. The Burlington Bike Council provides citizen input to the city. A downtown resident seldom uses his car. In Keene, New Hampshire, Pathways for Keene provides private support for the town trail system. Finally, Path to Health walking routes in Rhode Island bring an Irish program to the United States. Stay tuned. We're at Quincy Market talking with Ken Krause, who's Office Manager for Walk Boston. What is Walk Boston?
Walk Boston is the nation's first pedestrian advocacy organization. We are an entirely volunteer group based in the greater Boston area, and our mission is to improve pedestrian conditions, make the environment more pedestrian friendly, encourage people to walk for health, and we also focus on safety and community building.
What's going on today? What's special?
Today was special. It was the first National Walk to Lunch Day, and Boston, Walk Boston was an eager participant. We had, normally on any day in Boston, it's Walk to Lunch Day because there's a lot of good places to go, both restaurants, public spaces, green space where people can walk to lunch. So we had a little bit of a head start in that promoting Walk to Lunch Day was pretty easy in Boston, but we had hundreds of people out here in the Faneuil Hall, Quincy Market area today that were enjoying lunch, and we were encouraging them to get out, get a little extra exercise, perhaps socialize with their coworkers, maybe take an occasion that they might not do something, might go off to lunch by themselves. And so we were stressing an opportunity to get out and enjoy the day, get a little exercise, and maybe run into somebody who you don't even know out having lunch as well. And we made a lot of friends today, I think, for Walk Boston and encouraging people to walk.
And you had a lot of people at your table helping you out. Where'd you get all the people to help you?
Actually, we were blessed in that there are a lot of colleges in the Boston area, and we were contacted by 4 graduate students from Tufts University. They're in the nutrition communication department, and they just happened to be looking for a health-related event that was coming up this semester in the springtime that they could do the publicity for. And basically, they brainstormed and got together and created this event here where we had a central area where people could come and learn about Walk Boston and get stickers, and we had a prize drawing for a bunch of neat prizes, many of them walking related, and they put together a beautiful press kit with lots of facts about walking, story ideas, walking resources, and they just did a tremendous job, and we're hopeful that we can get their help from similar students in the future on other projects because they were a godsend.
We're talking with Audrey Schwecke, who's a graduate student at Tufts University. What are you studying there?
Nutrition communication. So it's a program where basically we kind of take nutrition information and somehow learn to translate it into information that the public can understand a little bit better, whether it's in writing or speaking, working in PR, so things like that, working with the media.
You're here with a lot of your classmates today for Walk to Lunch Day. How do you get involved in that?
Well, one of our classes, which is called Strategies in Health Communications, we had to go out and find a nonprofit organization, and called up Ken, and he had this event going on today, and it seemed perfect for our class. So we had to do a lot of the public relations for this event. We went out and we made press kits, sent it out to different media outlets, and we called up Quincy Market to kind of make this as our central location to try to attract people to get here. We also got gift certificates to raffle off and tried to make it a nice experience for people to come out here and walk to lunch today. So,
what did you learn from a project like this?
Follow up. Just don't get frustrated when you call people up and tell them that you're a grad student, a lot of times you don't hear back from them. But just learning our basic learning experience was getting a lot of PR experience out of this. It was huge. This is a great opportunity to learn about PR, just the world and that. So, and working with a nonprofit organization, we were, I think, really lucky to get a great organization, Walk Boston, to work with. Ken has been really helpful.
We're in Hallowell, Maine, talking with Andrea LaPointe, who's president of the Kennebec River Rail Trail. What is the rail trail?
The rail trail, it's a 6.5-mile length pedestrian trail running from Gardner, Maine to Augusta, Maine, the state capital.
And why is this trail important?
The trail is very important to this community for several reasons. One of the foremost is the health reason. The trail provides an important resource to this community so that they can have a place to walk that is safe, away from traffic. We have several facilities in the area that where elderly people live. They don't have to worry about tripping over stumps or rocks. They have a place that they can walk and not worry about cars and crossing busy streets. They can walk and enjoy the scenery, enjoy the tidal river and the wildlife that lives along this trail.
You know, what is it like walking along this trail?
Well, there are a couple of different areas that you go through when you go along this trail. That we just have this one section that's ready right now, but there's some wonderful oak stands that you go through, some nicely shaded areas that'll be nice in the hot summer days. We have some wonderful views of the Kennebec River with eagles soaring down and catching prey. There's an old cemetery that you can go by.
Now, what concerns did people have when they considered building this trail right next to the railroad?
I think people were concerned about an active train running so closely to people that it would derail and hit people. We've, looked at the history of this train, and the reasons for collisions were usually either because a car crossed the tracks without looking, or there was an animal on the tracks that collided with the train. But the likelihood of the train actually derailing and hitting people is very unlikely.
We're talking with John Balicki, who's the bicycle pedestrian coordinator with the Maine Department of Transportation. What does a bicycle pedestrian coordinator do?
Bicycle pedestrian coordinator really tries to make sure that in all of our state-funded transportation project that the needs of bicyclists and walkers are particularly accounted for. So we do that on our highway projects, and then some projects specifically like the shared use path we specifically build for the needs of bicyclists and walkers.
And what is the role of the Department of Transportation on a path like this? Who are the different players?
Well, mainly the different players are the communities that particularly requested funding from us to be able to build this trail. The city of Augusta and the towns of city of Hallowell and the town of Gardner and the town of Farmingdale. They actually have formed an organization to oversee and manage this trail. They've requested funding from us. We've not only funded it, but because we own, the state of Maine owns this railroad corridor, we've set some regulations and have worked with the rail operators to make sure both can, that this corridor would serve both the needs of bicyclists and walkers and future rail interests.
Now, what are the considerations when you're building a path, relatively close to a active rail line?
One of the main considerations is distance or separation from the railroad tracks themselves. This was a very narrow corridor. We don't have a lot of right-of-way, and we are hemmed in by the river on one side and steep banks and industrial uses on the other side. So in order to use the right-of-way we had, we did have to locate the trail fairly close to the railroad tracks. We set an internal standard that we felt if the edge of the trail was 10 feet from the edge of the tracks, that would be safe for the type of rail service that we anticipate on this. We don't anticipate anything more than freight trains at the present time, or very slow-speed excursion trains, probably going a maximum of 25 miles an hour. So we felt, given the type of rail service, that as long as we had some separation from the tracks, we would be fine. The other thing we did, as you might be able to see, is we have ballast separating the tracks from the trail. The ballast is a much less attractive surface, certainly to bicyclists, but even to walkers. It's not comfortable to walk on, and that alone certainly seems to discourage people from wanting to wander off the trail up onto the tracks.
Is this trail strictly recreational, or is there a transportation function that would have your department interested in it?
No, we see a strong transportation function. Maybe not as much at present. At present, only 1 mile is currently open, but eventually when we plan on getting the full 6 miles open, we'll be connecting 4 different communities in Maine. This looks, right now like a fairly remote site. It's wooded and there's a river, but we are within a half mile of the state capitol, major state office buildings where many people work in the city of Augusta. We are, from the other end, we are in residential communities of Hallowell and Farmingdale and Gardner, and we see the trail as a great potential, certainly for people to walk to work from Hallowell. It's only a walk of 1 mile. It's not an excessive distance. There's many state employees who live in Hallowell, and certainly a bicycle commute from Gardner. That's only a 6 mile bike ride. Again, we think, again, very flat because it follows a rail bed which was flat, so it's not a particularly strenuous ride, and we think we really have great hopes that this trail will open up a whole new set of people to begin thinking about both walking and biking commuting to relieve congestion from our major highway here, which is also nearby.
We're in Burlington, Vermont, talking with Chapin Spencer, who's a former member of the City Council.
Thanks, John.
How important are pedestrians and bicycles to Burlington?
Sure. Thanks for coming to Burlington, Vermont. And as a former city councilor, I can say with certitude that the city of Burlington recognizes that our future, the livability of the city, is rooted in pedestrian and bicycle mobility. The public space here on Church Street and other parts of our downtown have to first accommodate the bicycle and the pedestrian. And from there, we look at how we can accommodate cars. We need to ensure mobility of all folks, our elders, our young people, and unless you're over 16 and unless you're able to drive, we need to make sure that there are other ways to get around. And it's been a great community for folks recognizing the importance of walking and biking.
How much of your budget are you able to devote to bikes and peds?
Yeah, well, one of the great things is we've really institutionalized pedestrian and bicycle facilities into our budget. For example, we plow our sidewalks in the city of Burlington, and that's a commitment we've made out of our property tax budget. We believe that that's a general basic service. On top of that, one of the things we've committed to is spending at least 2% of our street and sidewalk capital budget specifically for bicycle improvements. That's above and beyond any improvement that we do as part of a rehabilitation of a roadway. That's going out and replacing drain grates, that's putting in bike lanes, real in-the-ground important work.
What's being done to encourage people to bike and walk more?
One of the exciting things is that the private sector has really stepped forward in fostering a culture of walking and biking, especially for commuting. We have folks on the hill section, for example, our institutions, the hospital, the university, where it's much cheaper for them to offer financial incentives for employees to walk and bike than it is to build parking spaces. So right now, the institutions really are stepping forward, paying gift certificates, paying for a guaranteed ride home program, and really stepping forward as a leader to provide these incentives. And today there are about 400 people on the Hill who are either walking or biking to work as a result of this program.
We're in Burlington, Vermont, talking with Jules Fishelman with the Burlington Bike Council. What is the council?
The council is a citizen advisory group to our Department of Public Works, and we advise the city on biking-related issues, advocating for bike lanes, for signage, for on-street amenities, whenever any work is done in the city. We also do education and outreach.
It's May. What's important about May?
May is Bike Month, and we're doing a lot of work for Bike Month right now. One of our biggest accomplishments of the past year is putting out Burlington's first comprehensive bicycle map, and we're going to have an unveiling of that, and we'll be distributing it through Bike Month. We also get ready for a bicycle summit where biking advocates in the city meet, discuss issues, and basically formulate work plans for the upcoming year, and that'll be at the end of this month.
And you're on the pedestrian wall today with a big map of the city.
Yep.
What's you doing?
One of the special projects that we've got going right now is a north-south bicycle route advisory committee is basically been set up to work with a consultant to develop for Burlington a comprehensive bicycle plan. So the bike map includes stuff that's already been done and side paths that people have identified. The bicycle study is looking at how Burlington should look in 10 years. We're promoting this right now because this plan is in its public process phase. So we're trying to get more people aware of it, more people to come out and talk about it, and hopefully get the City Council ultimately to approve it. It will provide biking advocates and city planners a roadmap, essentially, towards developing the city and making it a bike-friendly place.
We're in Burlington, Vermont, talking with Jesse Robbins.
Hi, how are you, John?
Doing pretty well. How do you find Burlington for getting around on foot or without a car?
Well, I think one of the great things about Burlington is it's a small city and it's got the small community feeling, but it's also it's got all the urban amenities that you would be used to in a larger city. I moved back to Vermont about 1.5 years ago and bought a house near downtown, and I'm very lucky in that I can walk 2 blocks to work, I can walk 2 blocks to a supermarket, I can walk 3 blocks to a hardware store. Just about everything I need is right within the downtown area. And other neighborhoods in the city have some of those same advantages as well.
How many miles a year do you put on your car?
Well, I just got a new car and it's a lease, and I'm not worried at all about going over my my annual lease allotment. I drive just about only for work. My car is parked probably 6 out of 7 days a week.
And we're down here on the waterfront. What's this body of water behind us?
This is Lake Champlain. It was once referred to as the 6th Great Lake. It's a long and narrow lake. What you see on the other side of the lake is the Adirondack Mountains of New York. It's just a beautiful spot, and something that draws a lot of people to Burlington. One of the things that keeps us a walkable city is not only is it and a vibrant downtown, is that we've got not only the residents using the downtown, but tourists from all over the country come to visit Vermont, the beautiful scenery around the state, and help keep this area really active.
And we're on a boardwalk promenade with a lot of people around. What was this area like before, and what's been done to make this an attractive place?
Well, just like most American cities, the waterfront for a long time was an industrial area. Not a lot of people wanted to be down here. The nice houses are way up on the hill where they can see the lake, but they didn't have to smell it 100 years ago. In 1990, the city built this great waterfront park, and it's one of those things where it's amazing. It's used year-round, and you can imagine in Burlington, Vermont, the winters are pretty cold, but I think that the scenery brings people down here year-round. In the wintertime, you'll see people cross-country skiing down this boardwalk.
What does it take to make sure that Burlington stays a walkable, vibrant, active place?
Well, it's not just having a beautiful waterfront and a great pedestrian promenade. The stores on Church Street are great, but I don't need crafts, furniture, and pottery. I need more than that to get along without a car downtown. One of the things that happened 2 years ago, there was a downtown supermarket and it closed its doors. And immediately the city council took action to see what we could do to keep all the services that someone needs to get along within walking distance for downtown residents. So in February this year, a new grocery store opened up downtown, and it's been fantastic. I'm again able to do all my shopping without getting in my car. So.
We're in Keene, New Hampshire, talking with Chuck Redfern, who's a member of the City Council. What's this path behind us?
This path behind us is the Downtown Cheshire Trail, which is the first phase of a series of trails that we're developing here in Keene, New Hampshire.
And member of the City Council, you're very aware of what the budget is like. How is the city able to afford the trail system?
Well, that's because of the originally the ICE-T, what was called ICE-T funds, made available by the federal government, where 80% of the cost of construction is covered, and therefore a local community only has to come up with 20%. And so our organization, Pathways for Keene, was formed to help the city come up with that 20%.
And Pathways for Keene, when was that formed? How'd the idea for that come around?
We were formed in 1994 after a master plan had been developed through the cooperation of Antioch College here in Keene. And basically they studied the need for a trail system to make pedestrian and alternative mode of transportation more affordable, and also to help determine what segments should be built first, sort of come up with a master plan. Once that master plan was created through a series of public meetings, then came the need to discuss money. And when that came up, the original committee really wasn't geared for a fundraising campaign, and however, some of us in this city felt pretty comfortable to come forward, step forward, and work with large employers in the city, civic organizations such as the Lions Club, the Rotary Club, to help raise money for a pathway system.
How much has been built so far?
Over approximately 3 miles has been built so far.
And there's also something called BIPAC. What's that?
That's the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee here in the city. It's a part of the city government that was created once the pathway system started to be developed. There were issues that had to be addressed beyond just the funding, but rules and regulations of the trails, amenities to the trail, some facilities that get added to the trail. How are those priorities put into place? And also to modify the master plan as time goes by. You need to modify your master plan. And so basically the city wanted a commission set up, an advisory group set up to be its focus point for getting ideas directly to City Council. And so the BIPAC was created.
And how is other communities in the vicinity, what sort of trail systems do they have, and will the trail systems ever connect?
Their trail systems in other communities, they're starting because of the ICE-T money, which is now Century 21 funding, which has succeeded that. There's still a lot of activity going on in major cities where you'll see multi-user paved trails such as this one behind us. However, in the more rural communities surrounding Keene, it's basically rail beds where the railroad companies are no longer operating on and are just dirt packed trails. Those are used primarily by snowmobilers, hikers, and also by bikers, and they will be connecting to this trail system here.
Resident of Keene, using the paved trails like the one behind us, where would you be able to go in Keene on these trails?
Basically, you'll be able to go from one end of town to the other, totally on the trail system.
We're in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, talking with John Hall, who's project director for Path to Health.
Good afternoon.
What is Path to Health?
Path to Health are walking paths that we place on already existing sidewalks and trails, and we mark them at half-mile intervals with signs and poles along the route. And our goal is to promote people to walk more often for enjoyment and better health.
Why is walking important?
Walking has numerous benefits, but one of the best benefits is it's a great way to get exercise 3 to 5 times a week. There's no membership that's needed. All you need is a pair of shoes, and you can get out and enjoy a walk, a brisk walk.
Where'd the idea for Path to Health come from?
Path to Health started over in Ireland with the Irish Heart Foundation. The program was called Shlína Shlante, and it started over in Ireland, and they have over 50 paths in Ireland. It's in over 12 countries, and now Rhode Island is the first state to bring Path to Health to the United States. So depending on the success and efficacy within Rhode Island, the American Heart Association, who is the franchise, they will then decide if they want to roll it out nationwide.
What's involved in creating a path? What considerations goes into where you put one?
You want to find a safe route for people to walk, preferably well lit. We often try to transverse local historic sites, areas of interest, kiosks, churches, and we like to put them in where people already walk, not in the boondocks per se.
Once you've established a route, how do you get people to actually use it?
Well, once we establish a route, we have to go ahead and get town council approval, and then it's the Public Works Department who work with us to install the signs and poles. But then we, through promotion and walking groups, we have a fair amount of the physical infrastructure in Rhode Island set up with 10 to 11 paths in 11 different communities, and now we want to go back and work with the civic infrastructure. We're going to start up walking groups, different walking clinics, and really try to engage the community to get the Rhode Islanders more physically active.
When you're evaluating the program to decide whether to go to all 50 states,
Sure.
or what do you be looking at? What constitutes success?
We have a fairly extensive protocol for our evaluation. It includes both semi-quantitative and qualitative measures, but we will be doing phone surveys in different communities. We will be organizing focus groups, and we'll also do just simple pedestrian counting to see if people walk more often. Numerous studies have shown that if you want to change behavior, you have to change the environment. What we found is you also need to go back into those communities and establish different programs to get people walking. So that's one of the keys, to go ahead after you get the signs and poles up to run different programs and establish walking groups that will be ongoing.
Visit us on the internet at www.pedestrians.org.